Good afternoon and welcome to Horn Camp Connect, an offering of Cormont music. I'm your moderator and KBHC staff member, Kyle Schober. Today's session of Horn Camp Connect will be led by Bernhard Scully and Jesse McCormick and will feature Lin Baird, Paul Basler, and Patrick Hughes. As always, before we jump into the session, a few Zoom housekeeping items. So that everyone is able to hear the presentation, we've muted all participants. Please stay muted for the duration of the session unless one of our presenters asks you to unmute. If you click on participants at the bottom of the screen, you should see a participant list pop up with your name at the top. If the name associated with your Zoom account is different from your own name, please click on the blue More button next to your name, select Rename, and enter your name. If you'd like to include your pronouns with your name, please feel free to do so. If you click on chat at the bottom of the screen, you should see the chat box appear. Comments posted in the chat are affected by the drop-down menu above the text box. Depending upon your selection, your comments may be viewed by everyone or by individual participants. Each time you enter a comment in the chat, please double check your selection so that your comment is seen by your intended audience. And with that out of the way, I'll hand the session off to Bernhard and Jesse.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Good to see you, Jesse.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, good to see you too, Bernard. That intro music was awesome.
What was that?
I don't know.
Us playing? I didn't recognize that piece.
I also didn't recognize it, so I don't know. I don't know. I guess we both played
You
it.
guys, I'm sorry to pop in. That's one of my former students' piece, Mike McCulka. It's called Saraband in Retaliation, but I don't know who's performing it, but it was a great performance. Sorry to pop in, but
Thank you. No, that's now we know. That was so cool.
Michael McCulka.
Okay,
yeah. Again, let's play it this summer.
Yeah, we should play it this summer. That was awesome. I was like, this is good energy. I'm like ready for the morning now. So
sounded like who's the composer? It kind of like Revueltas or something. It's like
yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, so I would love to bring it to camp if you have it, Pat. That'd be amazing. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our May Horn Camp Connect. We're really glad that you could join us. Bernard and I will be leading the first hour as usual in warm-ups, and then we are very excited to feature our guests today, Lynn, Pat, and Paul. So with that, we can get started with our warm-ups first.
Let's do it. Okay, we start the usual way. We do have some surprises this time around too, so it's not just the same thing. We got some surprises. We will start off by limbering up the body. So everybody stand up if you want. Just do some stretching. And play the horns, a very physical thing. And so you want to make sure our body is calibrated and tuned up before we start. So let's do some twisting. Just 10 twists. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go farther if you can. 9, 10. I just heard a pop. Don't go that far. Okay, fold over. So this is touch your toes. So again, 10 counts. Just go as far as you can. Try not to pop your body. That's not good. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to do the side bends. And I'm going to turn you around because you can do them like this. That's fine. If you want to get a little more torque with it, you can take your left hand and grab your right wrist. And then as you turn this way, you can kind of pull with your left arm to get a little more oomph in it. So here's 10 counts this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to do the other side. Just take your right hand and grab your left wrist and do the same thing other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're almost done with this. Got some arm rotations, and this is because we sometimes build up some lactic acid in this area. It can cause some tension, so this kind of like works some of that out. So we're going to do backwards rotations. This is a rotation with 10 of these. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we do it forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And lastly, just to make us feel a little more relaxed, we're going to give ourselves a little neck massage by rolling our shoulders. Again, kind of getting that lactic acid just kind of pushed away as much as we can before we start. So we'll do backwards rolls, 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we do forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully you all feel pretty good from that, and I think we're ready to do some breathing.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernhard. Okay, so we'll do breathing. I'll try to be a little bit quick today so we can get on to our amended material later in the warm-up. So breathing, we're going to do breath builder. So this is counts in versus counts out. So you can see we start with 3 and 6. So that's 3 in, 6 out, 4 in, 8 out, so on and so forth. And then we'll do a little bit of capacity breathing, and I want to do some pop breathing today as well. So let's start with 3 in, 6 out. So I will count us off 3 for nothing. And you want to breathe in with a really nice open throat. An easy way to create that mechanism in the body is to use the hand, all right, with an O syllable, like very round, open O, low tongue, open throat. You can put your hand up like that and breathe. All right, it's a really nice mechanism to get the throat open, get air deep into the body, right, really low. So lungs are like a balloon, expanding on all sides. So this is going to be three counts in, 6 counts out, controlling the air. I'll count us off 3 for nothing. Here we go. 1, ready, go. Good. 4 in, 8 out, 3 for nothing. 1, ready, go. Five in, 10 out, 3 for nothing. 1, ready, go. Cool. 6 in, 12 out, 3 for nothing. 1, ready, go. Good. Okay. So the next 4 is 3 in, 15 out, 2 in, 18 out, 1 in, 21 out, and then 1 who knows how many. So the idea is to reduce the amount of time that it takes us to take breath in, but extend our release. So this is all about controlling the air and bringing awareness to how we're getting air out of our body in an even and methodical manner. But also really tanking up quickly, because as horn players, musicians in general, but especially horn players, we really need to learn how to take in our air quickly in phrases and how to use it to maximum efficiency. So we're going to do 3 in, 15 counts out, and I'll count you off 3 for nothing. Here we go. 1, ready, go. Good. And when you get down to the end, you should be pretty empty, all right? It's going to feel a little uncomfortable, but really commit to getting to 100, from 100% full to 100% empty. 2 in, 18 out, 3 for nothing. Here we go. 1, ready, go. Good. 1 in, 21 out, 3 for nothing. Really quick breath, really tank up. Breathe low. 1, ready, go. All right, cool. Last one. 1 in, who knows how many out. So we're just gonna try to control it. And you want it to be a consistent pace of exhalation, so nothing too restrictive. Maybe we'll get to 30, 35, something around there. We'll see how far we can go. All right, here we go. 3 for nothing. 1 breath in. 1, ready, go. Okay, I think I made it to 38. All right, excellent. Okay, this is really just very good. I know it can feel really uncomfortable for some because I think we get into patterns where we're not used to really getting to the end of our breath capacity. But as you can see, it's a little uncomfortable, but hopefully nobody passed out. Okay, capacity breathing. I'm gonna only do 2 of these really quick because I want to do some pop breaths today too. Capacity breathing. This is all about learning what 100% full for your lungs is actually. So what we do is we breathe in to what you think is 100% full, keep your throat open, take 2 sip breaths on top of that. It's going to look like this. Okay, so the idea is that once you get to 100%, hopefully you're not taking in any more air, but you're trying to. You're really trying to expand the lungs, right? Then we exhale forcefully all the way until what you think is almost 0, and we start hissing until you can no longer hiss, which looks like. All right, so you really squeeze out every last drop of air. So we do these in succession. Deep breath in, throat open, 2 sips on top of that. Exhale forcefully, hiss until you can no longer hiss. Okay, let's do this as a group. Here we go. First one. All right, let's do one more of those. Same thing. Big breath, really open throat. Try to get to 103% this time. Really exhale. Here we go. First one, second one. Oh, it's really good. It's good stuff. Try this on the horn. Try a solo, maybe like a lyrical solo that you like. The first one that's coming to mind for me is like Track 5, that's an excerpt. Take a breath, exhale to about 75% empty, and then start the solo and see how long you can go controlling that more empty feeling. It's a really good technique to get used to in phrases. Just learning your whole capacity. Okay, pop breaths. I want to do really quick, just 2 of these. What this is bringing awareness to where you're expanding air into your body. All right. So what you do is you put your hand up, you breathe against the resistance of your fist here. Okay. So I'm trying to inhale, but nothing can come in because it's blocked, right? And I'm bringing awareness here. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see this. I'm going to bring awareness to lower front, lower back, upper front, upper back. Okay, that's where I'm going to, in that order, thinking of expanding. It's going to look like this. Then you release the hand, you let all that air go right to those spots that you were focusing on. Okay, so we're just going to do 2 of these really quick. 2 pop breaths, 4 locations that we're thinking about. Pop, let all that nice, good, high quality air in. Okay, here we go. Cool. One more. All right, second one. Cool. All right, I think that does it for breathing today. That goes on to first notes on the horn.
Wow, I love those pop breaths. That really gets you full. Thanks, Jesse. Okay, so now we are limbered up. Our breathing is set. We're going to play the horn. And remember, everything we do now is going to be a breathing exercise. Don't forget about those big breaths we took. Use each one of the exercises as an opportunity to practice the breaths as well. So the first notes on the horn, we're just going to do some free buzzing to start. And one of the things you should know about free buzzing is it's not the same as horn playing or when you add the mouthpiece, which isolates that tissue, which is unisolated. And your free buzz might sound very different than mine. Like Jesse and my free buzz both sound very different. Mine usually starts low. Is different. So go figure. He plays professional low horn, and I'm sort of a high horn player. That's weird. But it doesn't matter. So wherever it's easiest for you to start this, just kind of like make a sound with the free buzz. It's kind of like spitting out a watermelon, and sustain it. Just kind of get things going. Take that big breath. Try that. Once you get that going, let's add the mouthpiece. We'll try to just play a mid-range note. I will take the tongue out initially, just because the tongue can have a tendency to get in the way. We'll add it back in as we go through things, but for now, maybe leave it out. Again, big breath, and we're just gonna produce a mid-range sound. Try that. Make sure you feel relaxed in the center. You want that stuff inside the mouthpiece to be very relaxed and malleable. All the stuff around it begins to form. There's more strength around there. So now we can put this on the horn. You can choose one of these open notes, or you can choose another note if you like. This works well like in a group setting. Obviously, if you play cluster chords, that can be cool too. So again, I'm gonna take the tongue out, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. I might first actually do just some warm air into the horn, kind of like a seashell, just to kind of get that experience of slowing down. The tendency, at least my tendency, is oftentimes to be too fast. I want to like get things done fast or move my air too fast, and it can cause all sorts of things. So I'm kind of like counteract that by just making the air slower, kind of like a seashell. Super slow, super relaxed. We don't need very much effort to play. We just need a little bit of effort. We need to focus on what that is. So now we're just going to speed that air up a little bit more and see if a sound emanates. That was an E, obviously. That's usually the first note that comes out for me. Yeah, keep trying it. So just listen to the sound. One other thing you can do at this point is maybe to do some pitch bending, just to kind of get a little better context for where your sound is, maybe how you can make it warmer, more resonant. We're kind of shooting for that sweet spot in the note. Each note is a shelf of infinite sounds, actually. And there's this sort of certain part of it that resonates the most. It has the most overtones. So we're trying to find that part of it right now. We can experiment just a bit. Notice how much I can bend that note. I can really bend it to a different note, actually, even beyond it. It's really kind of amazing, these shelves we have. But then there's that point in the center where, if you can hear it over Zoom, where it resonates a bit more. So everybody try that, and let's play one more of these, then we'll move on to reestablish this. Good. And one thing that's written there too is the formation. You can think of the syllable hu or all to kind of get things forward and open. That can help to define this sound. So now we can do the hododo.
All right. Thank you, Bernhard. So we're doing our normal hododos, but in a slightly different way because we are focusing today on Lydian dominant style and tuning. So this has been a good challenge for me to learn. Yeah, hododo is all about getting our first notes on the horn with our air, right, in a very simple manner. You've all heard me say it 1,000 times, and here's 1,001. You can't make something sound easier by working harder. So the idea here is, with horn, we want to start with very simple input, easy, nice, relaxed, warm air, nice, easy buzz that Bernhard just got us going on. And so we're starting from a place of ease, right? Hopefully that will lend itself to good, consistent technique on the horn, okay? So hododo refers to the articulation we're going to do. So it's ho, do, do, about like that. We're going to go around quarter note equals 60. Today, I'm not going to use a metronome. We're just going to count it out together. All right. So this is in the Lydian dominant style. Hopefully, I get all of my accidentals correct. Let's start this from the beginning. I'll count us off for 4 for nothing. All right. On C. 1, 2, ready. D, 2, 3. E, 3. F sharp, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. A, 2, 3. B flat, 2, 3. C, 2, 3. Now descending, B, 3. A sharp, 2, 3. G sharp, 2, 3. F double sharp, 2, 3. E sharp, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Last 1, 2, 3. Very good. Awesome. All right. So we descended on that one. Usually we just ascend. So it was a nice change of pace. Working on your hoe attacks is a really good idea. A lot of times, if you're not used to doing it, you get these, right? But that's okay. That's an okay exercise to do because you want to get awareness of what sorts of good amounts of tension do you need to bring into the embouchure with good air until it starts buzzing, right? And learning how to control that moment of the initial buzz is really great. So I actually do a lot of work with hoe attacks all through my range and when I'm warming up daily. So, all right, that takes us to Sing, Buzz, Play, Create.
Thanks, Jesse. Okay, well, because it's in a lot of music actually, and it might be just the most common scale mode you've ever heard that you didn't know what it was. And as we go forth, you might understand why that is. So one of the most famous themes that's ever existed is the Simpsons theme, unless you're maybe born after 2000, in which case I'm really dating myself. So if you haven't heard the Simpsons, just don't tell me that. But do listen to the theme because it's pretty cool. It's by Danny Elfman, Boingo Boingo, another really great 80s band. It is a Lydian dominant. Dom bum bum ba da bim bum ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba da da. Everyone knows hopefully that. So we got what Lydian dominant is. It's basically, if you think of the Lydian mode, that's like a major scale with a raised fourth by a half step. Do, da, 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 like that. Mixolydian mode is like a dominant, like a flat seven. Do, da, dee, da, 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 da. And so you kind of combine those two. Do, da, dee, ya, da, 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 dee, da, 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 do. It's a really cool. Thanks, Jesse. So you want to be able to sing these things. This is, and actually another reason I chose this because some of you may know I played the Dana Wilson Concerto for Horn and Wind Band with our University of Illinois Amazing Wind Symphony under Kevin Giraldi this week. And that whole piece is based on a Lydian dominant. I was like playing it, learning it, going, oh, it's Lydian dominant. The opening passage. That opening lick to all the second movement. That thing, it's all the same, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful mode. It's good to get in our ear. So let's sing this one, and then we're gonna buzz it, and then we're gonna play it. And this one's kind of nice too. The Simpsons, because it's got some rhythm. It's very catchy. You know, it gets us right in that groove of playing. We do this to get connected to music right away, right? We don't want to put off the music too long when we're doing all our exercises. That's all good, but maybe we can make our exercises fun too. Boom, that's the first note. So let's everybody sing it. 1, 2, 3. Bum 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 ba da yin dum ba da 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 dum. Bum 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 ba ya da da dum. Let's buzz it. I just want to make y'all smile this morning. That's why I do that. 1, 2, 3. Let me try it once again. I'm laughing too much. I can't play. Try it again. Let's get a little bigger buzz. This is a little different than some of the things we've done before. We usually do kind of very melodic things. This one's a little more punchy, a little more, pop rhythm-esque. So let's try it once again. 1, 2. Okay, now let's down the horn. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that is why I couldn't buzz it very well, because I was in the wrong pitch. Another thing we try to teach at Kendall Butts Horn Camp is not to be overly concerned about playing perfect. And that was clearly unperfect. I wasn't even in the right key. So let's do away with our unhealthy obsession with perfection as classical musicians and just embrace the crazy. So let's try that once again on the actual key. There we go. 1, 2, 1. Good. So I don't know about you, but I'm already like really excited to play music because that really made me happy. So that's what that should do. You can spend more time with that. We're not going to create with it right now because we're going to do that at the end of the session. But let's just do a tiny bit of some free buzzing, kind of expand on the free buzzing and the buzzing. And the free buzzing, I just added a Lydian dominant. So I'm just going to take that free buzz that we had at the beginning, and you can start anywhere you want. Try to create a Lydian dominant wherever you can. If you can't do it, it's not important. It does not mean you're not a good horn player. It's just a tool. I just offer it. My teachers did it, So here's what it sounds like. Just kind of lets you integrate that, play it on the free buzz, get what that sounds like. You can keep expanding if you want. And then we're just going to do for the buzzing, we're just going to try to get a full siren going as much as you can. This is just to make sure our face kind of gets all over the horn before we really start ramping up our other stuff. So this one, you can start right in the middle. If you have a lower buzz, you can start lower. If you don't, it's okay. I encourage you to try to develop it more. Try to develop your buzz over the course of the range. Probably even more important than the free buzzing in some ways. Getting a clean, nice, easy buzz over the whole range over time. So this is just going to be a very, very slow siren. Takes up all the air. So whatever range you have, try to do that. Let's try it once again. So just whatever range you got, let's do this slower the better. Big old siren, try to keep it even. If you got some breaks, that's okay. This is like ironing out, our embouchure with all our breaks is sort of like a wrinkled shirt sometimes when we start. And so you never really get rid of those wrinkles totally, but you can iron them out so you can't really see them or experience them very much. That's what we're doing with the sirens. So, all right, 2, all right. All right, good. Hopefully everybody's face is kind of up there now. We're going to do one more thing. I won't do all of these, just a couple. This now actually is, what is the Lydian dominant? Well, it is the overtone scale, up to overtone 12. So that's where you've heard it. That's why this is like, what is this? I know what this is. This is possibly the most natural scale we've ever had. Above overtone 12, it starts getting a little more squirrely and everything gets closer, but that's okay. So this one, these overtones, this is starting in 1, 2, and 3. I like the idea of not putting in a metronome today. That's kind of cool. Let's not do that. Trying to break the mold. So we're still going to take the big breath and focus on sound. That's so important with this. That's our first note on the 1, 2, and 3. If you want to kind of like bump the harmonics into place, that means you're using your air very well. You hear it? Hear that Lydian dominant? Kind of cool, huh? So bumping into place, and then also the tongue position as you go from the lower, which is probably like more of a aw, and then you kind of go up into the upper range. The tongue is going to go. And the jaw changes as well. So that tongue position, which changes the syllable in the mouth, you can experience it with a half whistle if you try that. Try that on your own as a little assist as you're going up and down. Okay, let's try it. 1, 2, okay. Whew, I almost ran out of air. Yeah, that's all it is. And so this is just a great way of kind of getting your face up and down. No fingerings involved, or only one finger at a time. Let's do the next one. 1 and 3. Same thing. 1, 2. Okay. Good. Maybe let's do like one more. Let's do a little bit into the higher register to the A flat, or sorry, the D flat concert, horn A flat, 2 and 3. Ready? 1, 2, big breath. Yeah, you can keep going up if you want. Wherever your range is, try to push to there. So now we can go on to our beautiful sounds.
Thanks, Bernhard. I love the overtone series. I do it every day. I feel like it's so good for just range and playing into the horn and not having to worry about fingers, and it's great. And just getting the sound of that overtone series in your ear, I think, is so good for horn players. Because we can play so many notes with one button. So, yeah, good. Also, thanks for the song of the day. It was a very second horn range of you. Highly approve. So we're now going to move into our beautiful sounds. Many of you are familiar with our beautiful sounds. Now we have altered it. This is in the Lydian dominant style mode. Okay, so it's going to be really important for all of you, as it is for me, to look at the key signatures and the accidentals as we go along in this. So yay for 6 sharps and an E natural and a B sharp. So yeah. So I'm not going to set a metronome. We're going to try to aim for around a little faster than 60. But again, same concepts that we've applied in the past for beautiful sounds. Blow through your notes rather than at them. Okay. Even though on the way this is printed, we've got the slur underneath. You want to think of your air doing the same thing over the top. Okay, it's a nice big arc of air blowing through your notes to the end of the line. Try to play it in one breath if you can. And when you need to, as we get further down, you can breathe in the middle after the double dotted half note. So I'll play the first one just so that we can get some of this in our ear, and then we'll do it as a group. So the first one's going to sound like. Ooh, all right. It is a beautiful yet groovy sound. Okay, so a little different. We've really got to use our ears on this one. Okay, let's do it as a group. That same tempo, first line. We're just going to go, probably not going to do all of them, but let's get down the page and see where we go. So first one, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready. Next one, 2, ready. Six sharps, 2, ready. A, 2, ready. One, 2, ready. 2. Ready? Whew. All right, now we have a page turn. Let's do a couple more on this page. Let me check our time. All right, so let's just do maybe just a couple of these and then I'll stop us. But you can keep going on these in your own time if you want. Hopefully you're getting it into your ear now. All right, let's do a couple more on B. Count us off 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready. E flat. 2, ready. C, 2, ready. Let's do 2 more on D. Ready. Last one, D flat, 2, ready. Good. So that takes us to our halfway point. We would now do a D flat octave down and keep going. Excellent. So hopefully, I know for me at least, this is using a lot of computing power. So as I'm playing, I'm like, okay, what note am I supposed to be playing? So good for focus and good for thinking while also maintaining our beautiful sound and a good air. So great. In the interest of time, we should move on. So we're going to go a couple pages. Wow, we have a lot of these. All right. So learning leading dominant through improvising. Bernhard, take it away.
Okay, so one of the great things about this scale, hopefully as you're hearing it, Jesse play it so amazingly beautifully, it's like, boy, I want to write something with that scale. That's really cool. Like that, why wouldn't you want to create with it too? So why not have some fun as we kind of explore the scale, even on just one scale, just on the C. And you can do it with improvising. We've done this now all year. So we're just going to start. So I have the open open position harmonic series there for you, right below the instructions, which are all the notes we're going to use for the scale. So you can play that. You all know it from your warm-up. Right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to write it in what's called closed position. We're going to put all those notes into one. Obviously, we're not going to use the open horn. We're going to use fingerings. Okay, so everybody try that. Just play through that scale, any tempo you want. Play that. And now we're just going to also play the arpeggio. I kind of wrote an arpeggio in each one of the notes. You don't have to do all of them, or you can change the octave if you want. Just to kind of get a sense of what that's like, because the arpeggios within a key area really provide a lot of interest, and they're really good for learning because you find them in music all the time. So if you are practicing your scales but not practicing your arpeggios, you're really missing out on a lot of benefit that you could be getting from the scale. Also, with all of this, we can add articulation because we haven't done that very much. So this is where you start using, your preference. If you want to do kind of a taw, maybe more of a legato, maybe more of a staccato, that kind of stuff. You can choose right now to practice those different articulations the way you want them. You can choose the speed you want. Let's try some of those arpeggios real quick. 2. Just keeps on going up if you want. Really cool sonorities. And then I sort of just created some patterns because that's what you can do. I really want you all to do this for yourself. Just take one scale or a part of a scale, create your own versions of all this kind of stuff. These are just ideas to give you. We don't really think at KBHC that there's like one way to do things. There's infinite ways of doing things. You know, all roads lead to Rome, so to speak. So pentatonic scale pattern, this is kind of cool because it's a little different than when you get that in a major scale. And so on, kind of that little pattern. And then all these, I'm not going to do all these for you. I just wrote them out just to show you what's possible. You can really do a deep dive with like just a few notes. Trust me. So this one, just thirds. You would probably have already done this. Thirds are great, kind of a broken up thing. Fourths are cool because they're hard. They're really hard to hear intonationally, especially in this mode. And so on. Fifths maybe are a little easier to hear than the fourths, but they are oftentimes hard to negotiate on the horn. So fifths. So on sixths, I'll just play the opening. You know what a sixth is. Sevenths. And then finally octaves. And so on. And so all that stuff, and then in just 1 minute, I'll show you how we can use this stuff when we improvise. So we're going to actually be creating with this scale now. I mean, you're going to be learning it, but you're also going to be focusing on things like how you feel when you play a certain sonority. That's kind of cool, huh? Because I feel like with music, that's why I love music, because it makes me feel so good. So if we play music without kind of invoking our deep feelings, you know, we're probably missing out a lot. So I think this is really fun. There's a lot of cool feelings and emotions you can experience with Lydian dominant. Oh wait, that first note is a mistake on the swinging eighth note pattern. So disregard that. That should be a B flat. That was the edits. So that should be, just transpose that up a whole step. Next one's okay. So this is like creating a little pattern that is anything. You can create literally anything you want, but make it the same and then see if you can kind of like bring it around that scale area. So something like that. Okay, so we got all that stuff. You can try to play it on your own there. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to put a backing track on. You could also use drum. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to use the fun backing track. Jesse's going to laugh because he thinks this is funny. It is. And this is just, you know what this is? This is a basic blues. So how often as horn players do we get to play blues? Well, probably sometimes, but we can do it a lot with the iReal Pro, which is an app. You can get it. Maybe someone could put the information on the chat if people are interested. Costs a little bit of money, but it is an amazing app where you can basically download any song you want for free, create songs, anything you want with all these different styles, and practice learning scales with sort of an accompaniment. It's really cool. So I'm just going to put the blues on, and I'm going to put it on an actual blues setting. I'm going to put on a funky blues. How about that? And first of all, I'm going to show you how you can actually just use the overtone series. You don't even need the fingerings to start to improvise on this. Isn't that cool? You don't even need valves, and you can improvise. Didn't know you could do that. Okay, so now we're going to use the fingers, and I'm just going to play some of those patterns for you along with this backing track and see how they work. It's really fun, and I do this mostly because I just like doing it. I like having fun when I play. I think it's important, and also I like having fun, especially when I learn stuff, because I think that's when we learn the best. So if you can improvise on a scale, like create with it, then you really know that scale. You know, it's not just about like playing it up and down to pass the test. That's fine, but probably not really learning it very much. But if you can say, hey, create a melody, create a little rhythm with that scale, it means you really know it. It's like speaking. Like you really know how to speak.
What do you mean horn players can improvise? I didn't think we could do that. I thought we had to have music in order to play horn.
That's what they tell you. It's not just horn players too. We suffer from it more than that because we can't even like be in the exclusionary jazz band stuff. So no, anybody can improvise. They don't know that, but they can, and it's just like speaking. You know, we can learn how to play music conversationally, and when you can converse in something more fluently, it means you really deeply know it. So even if you never actually improvise professionally or something, that's fine. But if you play music with this in it, it'll just mean that you have that deep knowledge of this music, of this pattern, and it'll be all the more readily available to you when you play your Dana Wilson concerto or when you play your movie soundtracks, you know, with this particular mode. So it's worth it. Okay, so I'm going to change the sound of this now to do more of a blue note. Let's do that. And let's go to the fingers. And I'm just going to play some of those patterns I showed you, and you can play along with me if you want. Pentatonic scale. Now here's some of the integral patterns. There's a fourth. Here's some six. Now, so I'm changing the rhythm. Don't just like get to play what's on the page. It's okay. Invert them. There's the sevens. Here's the octaves. Switch around the notes if you want. And here's the pattern. Again, that first one's wrong. It should be starting in a B flat. Okay, so now I'm just going to close my eyes, and then you can all do the same, and you can just draw from all that stuff, or be as simple as you want. You can play one note, you can play two notes, and then just play what you feel. You can draw from those patterns if you want. So hopefully that was pretty fun for everybody. You know, I wish I could hear everybody's improvisations, what you're doing. It'd be really cool if we could put it all together, but that'll have to wait for camp. So I think we can probably stop and just do a quick break. Hopefully that was fun. And then we'll look forward to hearing from our three amazing guests, Paul and Pat, who I've been fortunate to know for over half my life. So
Yeah, before we do that, we're welcome to answer any questions if you have them based on the warm-up portion of this morning's session. Feel free to put those in the chat. We will get to them. But yeah, otherwise we can move into our second hour. I really love, I know I laugh at it a lot, but I love the backing track. I think it's really fun. I think it does inspire creativity. And of course, I was joking what I said before, improvisation and creativity on the horn is tremendously important. Which all of our guest featured artists today are very well versed in this world of horn, and it's really impressive. So part of the reason why we were inspired to have them as featured artists and guests today. So with that, we're 1 minute early, but I think we can all bring them in already. So we are very honored to feature some of our longtime faculty members from Horn Camp, Lin Baird, Patrick Hughes, and Paul Basler. Thank you, all three of you, for being here with us. We are really, really glad to have you with us.
Great to be here.
You, so inspiring.
This was exciting. I cannot wait for this next session.
Yeah, great. So each of you have prepared some individual materials that you each would like to present for us this morning. And then we're going to go into a Q&A discussion and subject discussion based on where our conversation goes. And I think we're going to start alphabetically. So that means Lynn is going to start. Is that right?
Sure, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jesse and Bernhard. That was incredible. I had no idea I would be riffing off of Lydia and Dominic this morning. It was so fun. Thank you so much. I learned a ton. And that's what I love about this camp and this experience and everything that all of you behind the scenes in particular, I mean, it's just so well run and so inspiring to be part of this and to be here today. So thank you, both of you, for that first hour and for that inspiration. So I just wanted to share some of the research I've been doing lately. I did last year a presentation on works for horn by female composers. This is my primary research area. And this last year, I've done a lot of new exciting research that I just wanted to share with the KBHC family and folks. I'll also introduce the subject to some of you who may not know what I'm talking about. So to start with all of this, I'd like to share my screen and encourage you, our dear observers. Let's see, where is it here? Okay, I'll have to navigate back to this. To go use a browser and go to, you don't want this warm up, this is what you just did. I gotta find it here. Here we go. Okay, here we are. So go to either linfolk.org, that's my name, or linfolkbaird.org. Both URLs will get you there. Or if you want to just watch as I share my screen. Can everyone see the screen? Everyone okay? Yeah, okay, good. So I just wanted to share with you here. So of course, this website I created about 20 years ago, and I've been updating it and adding a lot of new features to it recently. And this past year, I've taken this horn and piano page. This is a database. These are all horn and piano pieces by female composers. And this entire list is about 206, I think. I can't find it right now, but a little over 200 pieces titles that I have collected from various sources. I always keep my eyes and ears open. I just learned about Paul Basler is going to present a new piece, so I will be writing that down dutifully right after the class today. And I keep on my computer at all times a list of pieces that I need to add, and then I go to the website a couple times a year and add pieces to the entire website. I'm looking for pieces for one horn all the way up through 12 horns by composers who identify in their biographical information as she. So that's all it is. Just trying to get this music out there more and played more. That's my mission. So this page has 206 pieces. And I've been asked a lot over the years. It's great that there are all these pieces you can see by level of difficulty that the pros can play, but how about our younger players, beginners, and students who are learning? Are there pieces that are more appropriate for those students? And I've always wanted to, organize this in some way to help younger performers program these pieces, and I haven't had the chance to do that until this last academic year. So I created a new link coming from, so this is the comprehensive list right here of pieces for horn and piano by female composers that I have come up with at this point in time. Again, this is always changing. I'm always adding as I learn about new pieces. And this is the link that I just created in December, horn and piano works by difficulty, by level of difficulty. And so I have, I spent all fall researching every single one of those 206 works, the pieces that I did not already own the music or have a copy of the score. So I interlibrary loaned, I made interlibrary loan requests. I think I made about almost 98 requests through our local interlibrary loan. That came up with 20 successful scores. So I came back with 20 after that request. And then I went back in, I was tried to purchase. So how many of these can I still purchase today? So I was able to purchase an additional 20 titles. So since last September, I've acquired 40 more scores. So I currently have scores of those 206 pieces to 135 pieces. So of the pieces for which I have the score, I can rank them, how difficult they are. Now, there's no standard ranking system, as many of you may know from, I've looked at a lot of solo and ensemble lists from various states. Even in England, there's, I don't have it in front of me, ABRSM, the Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music, is very well developed, and they have a ranking system that I think is 9 levels. And so because it's not standardized, and because a lot of these ranking systems are clunky for horn repertoire, I decided to create my own. And so that's what this is. I found pieces that I thought would be most suitable for beginners. I put those in the elementary category. I call this level 1. And you can see listed here the range, time signature, key signature, it's all limited. If you click here, you'll find those pieces that are intended for beginners. Not very many. So you composer types out there, come on, let's make this list bigger. I wanted to add while we're here, I added one more column here since December that again I thought would assist and help people program these pieces. And that was, how difficult was it for me to acquire the score? I think that's important. I'm trying to imagine a 12-year-old ordering music. How hard was it for that? How hard would it be for that person to order music, or to have their parent who's not a musician? You know, I wanted this to be really easy for, I wanted to let people know how easy or how difficult was it. So Emma Gregan, wonderful composer from Australia. Here is a link to how to purchase in the titles. I've included links to publisher pages or composer pages. So this is how you can actually acquire the score. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm saying this wrong. The publisher, this is how you acquire the score. This is a link to the recording. So if a recording exists, I linked that here. This was super easy to acquire. So that's why I gave it an E rating. So you just go here and basically send the composer money and you've got it. These pieces were a little more challenging. They're worthwhile. I think these are great pieces by Elena Fursova. But I went to her publisher website, didn't get a reply to an email, but then was able to find her on Facebook Messenger. I tried to find her publisher, and then I found her individually, and then I just sent her a random Facebook Messenger message, and she responded and sent me scores to this. So it took a little more work to acquire. This piece by Sofia Gubaidulina I was very excited to find, because when I first did this research 20 years ago, I could not locate this piece. It was out of print and I just couldn't find it. And this time around, I was able to acquire it through interlibrary loan. And so it's not available for purchase as far as I know. And so I gave it a difficult. This is challenging to get because you have to be associated with an academic institution and you have to borrow it from another library. So just to go quickly, I don't want to take too much time here. Let me get back up here. Oh, I can't access this. Here we are. So go back. Nope, I got out of here. Here we go. All right, and I've done the same thing for works for intermediate, but you'll see that as we get more challenging, there are more pieces. So there are more pieces that are listed here for intermediate level. Medium difficulty, suitable for advanced middle school and younger high school students, in my opinion. So here's a longer list of works. And then finally, difficult or advanced. So these are suitable for advanced high school students or younger college music majors. A lot of pieces here. We should all be performing pieces by female composers. Here we go. Okay. All right, so you can see that. Now, everything else would be in the level 5, very difficult or virtuosic. And I didn't spend a lot of time on those because I had spent more time on those when I did this initial research 20 years ago. So that's the new link that I wanted to share with everyone. The other thing that I wanted to share is that you'll see, if you go through that again, I won't do that again, but if you go to all of those pieces, maybe I'll go here. You'll see that there are many pieces that are not recorded or they don't have recordings available. And particularly if you look at them by level, level 1, I think there's 1 recording. Level 2, hardly any recordings. And so that's what I'm working on right now. A pianist friend and I, she and I read 15 of these pieces that have not been recorded. And we received a grant from our university and we presented these at the Michigan Music Conference this past January. And we are going to record, I did want to mention, can you see, these are the pieces that we presented at the Michigan Music Conference. No, that is not, sorry, moving everything except what I want to move. Okay, here we go. These are the pieces that we performed, in case you're curious, in January. Yvonne DePort, these are all pieces new to me that I was very excited about, that I have not heard recordings of. So we will likely professionally record these pieces over the next year and release those and have those be available. So that's basically what I had and what I wanted to share. Are there any questions about my portion of the presentation, or should we talk, maybe just a couple questions right now and then we can maybe talk more at the very end?
Lynn, the last screen that you shared, I'm not sure we saw it. Was it a list that you were sharing?
Sorry. Let me share it a better way. Here, now I'm back in. I have a PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it now?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's great.
Thank you for mentioning that, Jesse. Yep, so this is the list of pieces that I performed at the Michigan Music Conference this past January, and these are pieces that do not have recordings available and are worthwhile. They're great, really good music here. So I want to encourage you to perform these pieces.
Lynn, I do have a question. Thank you for presenting. Yeah. So I know my student Kelly Langenberg. Do you know Kelly?
Yeah, we've played together once and just sort of barely crossed paths, but I know who she is. Yes.
She did a recent dissertation here, and she used your. horn players, young horn players. And when we first started to kind of talk about the project, she was interested in creating more music, for this early genre. And one of the difficulties she found when she contacted some people, like some composers, was the fact that maybe one of the reasons, what I'm asking you is like, do you have any suggestions for trying to inspire composers to write for that particular range of music? It's like to commission somebody, for instance, and tell them, we want you to write a piece, but for a beginning player, not like anything.
Right.
But she found that to be a barrier with some people were maybe unwilling to do that. And is that maybe one of the reasons there's not as much of it right now?
Yeah, I can, and Bernard, with my internet connection, I could just hear some of that. But I think the gist of what you're asking is there are barriers to working with composers to create these pieces. There's somehow we need to incentivize, and I'm actually finding that as well. I just created a project with a composer at your university, Bernard. Oh shoot, Kareth Livingood is her name. Exactly. We met at the Seamus conference here in Kalamazoo in 2021. I played a piece for horn and electronics, and she wanted to create another piece like that. And then I told her about this project that I was interested in getting more students performing pieces, even for horn and electronics. Like that would be really cool for younger students. I experienced the same resistance, and I don't know why. I could only speculate. That I can say that I've experienced that as well, and I'm just starting to experience that because this is focusing on younger players is something that I'm just dealing with, in the last couple of months. So I don't know if there are composers out there in our call today. It would be great to hear from them. Maybe they can share. I'm not sure why.
Well, one of the ways we solved it, and it was my initial suggestion, but Kelly didn't want to do it initially. I didn't blame her. I said, well, why don't you write them?
Well, she ended up creating her own, right?
Then yeah, so she went. Now it just didn't really have the success. And then if you get people like that one that will finally like say okay, but maybe you don't know their music very well, or maybe they wouldn't be what it deserved to be. Who knows? What you always it's up for grabs when you have commissions sometimes. But
right.
She ended up writing her pieces.
Right.
Are amazing. I mean, why wouldn't they be? But they're amazing pieces, right? And I feel like in some ways maybe that's just one of the solutions, is that everybody should be like writing music.
Right. Yeah, especially horn players, because we know what's easy. We know what can work for younger students. So, and thanks for the comments, everyone. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is great. I'm afraid I will not be able to go to IHS 55 this summer, but I will be at future conferences. I love going to the Horn Society conferences. But yeah, Bernard, what you bring up is really interesting. Thank you. Yes, Jesse.
I'm sorry. I was saying you will be at Kendall Betts Horn Camp, so you'll be.
I will be at Kendall Betts Horn Camp. Absolutely.
You'll be able to find her there, and we do still have spots left. So.
Yep.
Lynn, thank you so much for sharing this resource. It's tremendous. It's an amazing list. I can't wait to visit this myself and just like do a lot of research and digging and seeing what's out there, because there's so much out there that I think isn't readily available, or we don't necessarily think is available. So resources like these are just tremendously helpful. So that's really cool. Yeah, what a pleasure. Okay, well, should we move on to Paul?
Sounds great. Hey, everybody. So good to be here with everyone. So what I want to talk about today is this project I've been doing for the last 3 years, which is creating a massive set of etudes based on recipes that I've thought about for several decades right now. They're number generated, most of them. But the idea here is to get a supplemental group of etudes that will complement all the traditional ones that most of us have been using, forever. So first, I am going to, I have a little presentation, of course. So I'm going to share, now I'm like an old guy, so let's hope this works, okay? So here we go. Oh, do you see it? Yes? Okay. All right. So we all had a beginning. Not all of us just suddenly appeared magically as great horn players. So I'm going to show you my beginnings in Wisconsin. Um, I mean, they're probably the same type as all of you, but I think it's good for us to remember these things. You know, we all didn't just study with the world's most famous horn player as a doctoral student. Okay, so I'm from Wisconsin. This picture right here is me and my brother in Wisconsin Dells. I'm pinching the deer. So that's 1964. This picture is when I first started taking music lessons in 1970, piano lessons. So I was a pianist first. And so if some of you have seen me at workshops or any type of events, I accompany my pieces on piano often. This was my very first piano book. So we all had a beginning. This is probably the same beginning for many of you as well. So then we have this right here was my, oops, just a second, close this off something. Okay, I was taught in the Boosie and Hawkes band method. So this is what the book looks like. So this was in 1974 in 6th grade. My band director, Amy D. Domers, is the person solely responsible for creating me as a horn player. I mean, seriously, all of us need to think about our very first teacher, probably the band director, who suffered through all of our sounds at the point. But this was my first book. And then, of course, I went through the Rubank books. I am from the Midwest. This is very popular there. Elementary method, the intermediate. We all know there are 4 of these books. Oh, this was my first record. So in 1975, I was given this album, The Art of Dennis Brain. My parents went to a record store and asked for a horn record, and this is what they gave me, which is pretty great, I think. Okay, so this is the bicentennial year. Now I was in 7th grade and 8th grade at this time, and this next picture, this is my first marching. So there I am in front of the bass drum. I played a single F horn for 3 years. That's how they did it in those days. I didn't touch a double horn until 9th grade. Advanced method, of course. Advanced method 2. All of these books have been had a great influence on my composition and my teaching as well. Coprash, yes. I mean, how could we not have this book? Then when I discovered these 335 selected melodious progressive, I mean, this opened up the world to me. I just thought I was the coolest person around with these. By the way, we had 30 French horn players in my middle school. We had 600 band kids in my middle school in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. It was a very famous program. Preparatory Melodies for Solo Horn, work by Potag. This is a beautiful book. So this Vern Reynolds book actually probably had the most influence as a composer for me. I just love the logical, systematical way in which he develops the etudes from minor second onwards. Yeah, Philip Farkas, The Art of French Horn Playing. This was a very important album for me in high school. John Barrows and his French horn. Of course, he taught at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And this was filled with Alec Wilder music. So I had never heard a horn player play cool music in my life. So this was in high school. And this was a great influence. Okay, so this is my graduation picture in 1981. But that horn that you are seeing me hold was actually owned by Lowell Greer at one point. This was the horn that Lowell Greer played in the Detroit Symphony. My teacher at the time, Barry Benjamin, at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, knew that I needed a horn, and he had about 10 horns hanging on the wall. And so he just picked this one up and he said, here, take this one, $400. So that's how much I paid for this horn. And this is Lowell Greer's horn. And then Lowell and I later at Kendall Betts Horn Camp talked about this. It was pretty incredible. All right, so right now I am in book 5 of my massive group of etude books. So right now I have about 87 etudes in this recent one. So what you can see is that they all follow a general directory. There's a chapter on arpeggios, etudes specifically dealing with that, articulation, both single, double, and triple tonguing, a chapter based on other compositions, high horn, intervals, low horn, mid-register break, which is very important. This, by the way, was my Achilles heel as a horn player until Bill Purvis cured me of this issue in grad school. Natural horn-inspired scales and stopped horn. So when we talk about horn exercises, these are traditional ones. So when I was in school, this is what they gave us. When we had to practice low horn, they just said, oh, here, play this. And you see, this is a very standard exercise. Single tonguing, the same thing. You just kind of played scales and you went up. High horn, this is what they gave us. You just held a high note. You stopped for 2 beats and then you held another one, going up a half step. Natural horn exercises, this is the standard traditional one. And then the Florida All-State scales, which are probably the same as everybody else. So this is how we learn our scales. So whenever we try to play scales in any different type of pattern, we tend to like have a breakdown of sorts. So I'm going to show you a few of the etudes in the recent book, one per chapter. So this will give you a good idea of what they look like. And by the way, these are all free. I do not charge for these books. This is my gift to the horn world. And they should be, I gave this file, it's a big Google Drive folder. It should be linked in the chat box, but I'm not looking at the chat box. So, all right, here we go. So arpeggios, this is one Anna Held is one of my students. They're all dedicated to somebody. Horn players in my studio, friends, whatever. So this one is number generated. So I took specific, I use a number generator online and I create the initial pitches, and then I decide originally what kind of patterns there are, and then I create an etude. This one right here is, the range is pretty wide, goes very low, very high, but that's what this one looks like. So this gives us something else to do other than just continually going to the traditional etude books. This is a articulation etude. So this is single tonguing etude. And again, this is one of my Achilles heel. My single tongue has never been great. I was taught how to double tongue in 7th grade. And so I'm a kind of a double tonguing fiend. So this is, I call it Tonguing Tonic 2022. So the idea behind this is when you're practicing your articulation exercises, you don't just have to do scales going up and down in the traditional way. This never worked for me. I get bored very easily, and I need my mind to be stimulated by this type of thing. Okay, the chapter based on does a lot of things. One of them is to try to get us to not freak out every time we play one of our standard pieces. And of course we know what this is, because the tempo is tempo di Strauss. So what you do with this one is you play it stopped horn on F horn, finger 1 and 2. You just do that until measure 8. And then you go to a finger F2 to measure 12. And it goes through a chromatic series in line 4. And then you play the Strauss opening call, but on just finger 1. And there's a little note that says, relax, breathe deeply, and simply imagine that this fingering will work. That's the G there. Yes, we all know it's kind of not there in the overtone series, but the point is that we just relax when we're playing. High horn. So, you know, my high horn's okay. I mean, I think I have about, I don't know, 25 in my horn every day. But this exercise right here, actually, all the rests are breaths. So there are times of repose. Most of my etudes, that's the way they look. So you never have to think, oh my gosh, I have 20 measures of 16th notes going on and on. I will write the rests in. This one is from the interval exercise. So these intervals, of course, are the perfect fifth and the minor second. All minor seconds are slurred in this one. This is not number generated. This is actually through composed. And this is for one of my grad students, Abe Sulin. He's actually going to be at the Kendall Betts Horn Camp the first week. Leslie Bell, Swamp Mud. Well, I teach at the University of Florida. We're all about the Gators, and so we talk about the swamp a lot. Bass clef is left out of the game quite often. So this one definitely is number generated. And look at the time signature. Again, with this etude book, not everything is in 6/8 or 4/4. Or 3/4. I like to do time signatures that you might actually see someday. So this one right here, I just love bass clefs. So this one's one of my favorites. The next chapter is the mid-register chapter. This chapter was the most important one for me in grad school at Stony Brook, studying with Bill Purvis, because I could not, for the life of me, play through the mid-low register. And we're talking about middle C to low F, to leap through there without my embouchure going into spasms. So Bill gave me quite a few great exercises when I was at Stony Brook. And then, of course, 40 years later, I create these etudes based on those patterns. This one right here, middle C, is the base of this one, and we use F horn. Now, I do use a lot of B flat horn in my playing, but I am not a zealot about that. And so I love F horn. This one is from the chapter called Natural Horn and Trills, and this was written for Elizabeth. It's called Just Swish and Flick. Of course, we have the Harry Potter influence there, but the idea here is that instead of just opening up Coprash and going, and we all know what that exercise is, it's the natural horn exercise or the trill exercise that we've all done forever. This flicks. I find that if we flick the two notes by using a dotted 8th, 16th pattern and then go into the trill itself, we get much more success. So this one has actually a lot of friends in all the other etude books. There's quite a few of them. So even though I've been playing the horn for 49 years, it has only been in probably the last 12 or so that I've been dealing with the overtone series in the horn to a large extent. And this is due to two people. Jeff of Grell, of course, who I call the Yoda of the horn world, and James Nagus, who's just remarkable as well. So I love natural horn exercises, the overtone series. But I get a little bored if I just do the same patterns over and over. So as you can see, this is using quite a few of the finger combinations, but they're not, but they're scattered around. And this actually tries to create a composition that you could use. Now, I think that this type of thing is a really good start when you want to go to the pinnacle, the summit of pieces that use overtone series. And we're talking about the Ligeti horn trio. So, but this is like baby version. But these are a lot of fun, and there are tons of them in the 5 etude books. So this one right here, Bring It Back. This is just a very basic pattern. Sometimes all you have to do to number generate something is take a basic pattern you play every single day, which is this little major scale pattern right here. And I number generated it randomly, putting the starting pitches, and then I just placed it here. Now, quite frankly, you could do anything you want with this. You could slur it, you could put it up an octave, down an octave, it doesn't matter. This is not like a set in stone piece, but it's something for people to actually have fun with. Stopped horn. So there is a chapter about stopped horn, and this one right here I wrote just several weeks ago. So you start open, and it's not too fast, and then you echo playing stopped horn. Notice there is no key signature. So this one is actually a really nice one too. So these are some of the 87 etudes that are in book 5 right now. And the book keeps on growing. I'm probably going to introduce the book at the Kendall Betts Horn Camp in week 1 this year. All right, so this brings me to the exciting project that I've been involved with for the last several months. I've commissioned a work by this marvelous composer, Nancy Carroll. Nancy lives in Gainesville. She's originally from New York, but from the city itself, studied at the Royal Academy of Music, Tanglewood, Yale, has her doctorate from Yale, is a remarkable pianist as well. And she actually still accompanies people at the University of Florida. She has for many years was the music director at the large Catholic church here in town. Nancy incorporates a lot of African-American spirituals in her music. Her music is performed all over the world. She has over 300 some pieces, primarily vocal works and choral works, big cantatas. But I premiered a horn baritone voice and piano piece of hers 1 month ago called Morning Songs at the University of Florida. And I absolutely love her music. It's just magical and very high quality. Plus, she's just a great person. Look at that smile. So Nancy, I commissioned her to write a piece for horn and piano, and it's called Sojourn in 5 Steps. And she just finished it last week, right before I left for this trip to Seattle. So I am zooming in to you all in my hotel room near the Puget Sound in Seattle. So Nancy's was actually here in February for a big festival. This is just her bio. Okay, here is the piece. So this is the score itself, 5 short movements. I worked very closely with Nancy on this horn part. She would come into my office every single day. And so I can guarantee you all that this is an incredibly playable piece, but also so much fun. The articulations work perfectly well. I told her all about our little breaks in the horn, where leaps would be a little awkward, but it's spectacular. The lowest note is a G below middle C. And we all know that's kind of the sweet zone. And then there is a high, it goes up to high A. So it's enormously playable. We are going to be premiering this in the fall on a faculty recital of mine, probably late September or early October. And then this piece will be released, I believe, through one of her publishers. But as you can see, it's a marvelous piece. I mean, you see all these 16th notes, that's not very fast, but it's in our sweet zone where we can do this all day long. But there's 5 movements. They tell a story, and at the end, the last 2 movements, suddenly the piece starts morphing out of the spiritual swing low sweet chariot, which she has used as compositional fragments throughout the work, but you didn't know that until the end, and it's stunning. So these are the things that I've been doing, and I'm just really thrilled about it. Can't wait to come to camp again, live in person. And so really, I'm all up for any questions whatsoever.
Paul, that's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing this. I love your etude recipes. I think they're so cool.
Thank you. And actually, there is a book of recipes as well. So the thing is, I have a book. It's kind of like the Betty Crocker cookbook, where it actually shows you step by step how to do your own. For instance, there was a low etude that I wrote, 35 years ago or so, for a student who needed a little help on low C, just cementing low C. So I used perfect fifth as the interval, but you always went to C to G, every other measure. Well, I use that to create a recipe, and now I'm up to about 50 versions of that. So the point of that is you don't have to play the same etude for 100 years. You could play like its cousin, its sister. You know, it kind of looks like her, but it's not. And so the students in my studio get to do this all the time. If they are working on, let's say, Coprash 8, they can create, I have a recipe for that too. They can create their own version of it. And so that their face stays fresh, their mind stays clear. You know, it's all about coming to the horn and being happy and saying, I cannot wait to play. I so love this instrument. And so that's what it's all about.
Well, just you going through these etudes, you put the first one up and I was like, wow, I want to play that one. You put the second one up, I was like, wow, I want to play that one. So then I just grabbed my horn and I'm sitting here as soon as a new one would come on the page. You know, I'm like running through it. I'm like, oh, I want to play this one. I want to play that one. They're so fun. They seem really approachable. And yeah, I can't wait to explore everything.
Thank you. Well, right now I'm up to 411. Now, I have had many talks with a lot of you and with James Nagus as well. See, I think my etudes are like buffet. You know, I love buffets. I'm from the Midwest. There's nothing like a good buffet. So you go down the line and, you know, there's celery and there may be white bread, but then there's shrimp at the end and filet mignon. Some of my etudes later, after I write them, I think, that really is just kind of like pickled beets or, you know, like a piece of carrot. But then some of them actually taste like beef bourguignon. So they're not all remarkable, okay? You know, it's no problem to say that. But the whole idea is just to let these out, and they're all available for anybody who wants them. And that's what I've been doing.
Say too, like, you as a teacher, because that's such a wonderful gift. Little etudes that then they
Oh. Well, thank you. A lot of them are they're prescription etudes because I feel like I'm the doctor, and so they'll come in and they need a little. They'll play their etudes and you know how it is. You look at them and you're not going to start you say, wait a second, let's work on this mid-low register, and that tends to be the big one. I'm telling you. I mean, really, Bill Purvis just honed in on me on that, and thank God that he fixed that in my playing.
doctor and the pharmacist, like Melvin.
That's true. And in fact, I could just whip these up between lessons sometimes, so it's kind of fun.
Bill always impressed me with his ability to just come up with etudes on the spot, and you could just be like, "Oh, I'm having this one very specific issue," and he'd be like, "Oh, here's a created etude right in this moment to fix that problem for you." So
that's what he did, and quite frankly, I still have the manuscript. What he took a blank piece of paper, actually it was like a memo from the department head. He turned it over and he drew out the lines, the staff, and then he wrote out the etude for me. I still own that from 1985.
wow, that's so cool.
It was fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah.
Again, a tremendous amount of resource for us that you're making readily available, which is really amazing. So if you all didn't see, the links have been placed in the chat for you to access Paul's material. And yeah, so please enjoy. That brings us to our third guest for this morning, Pat Hughes. Hi, Pat.
Hi everyone. Oh, Paul, your swish and flick title for that one etude. You have to write one that's called Bend and Snap. From because we bend a lot on the horn. I think it should be your next one, and you can dedicate that one to me if you want. So I'd be honored actually. So okay, well, so it's so funny that coming after Paul, who's creating new etudes and creating this great recipes and everything. The project that I've been working on lately is going back to the old and looking at it new. So I don't. There's probably some great analogy for the buffet, Paul, but I can't think of I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I'm actually writing accompaniments to a lot of etudes that we all know and love from a whole bunch of different books. After teaching for so many years, I have to say that I think more and more about how to explore musicality, the musical side of horn playing as opposed to the craft side. Of course, the craft part is very important, but the musical part is harder to tap into a lot of times. And I'm always looking for new ways to try to get people to explore that. And so lately I've been working on a project aimed at fostering musicality by composing piano accompaniments to etudes that already exist. So etudes that are familiar and most often used by everyone, Koprosh, Kling, Gallet, Maxime, even Schuller, even Reynolds. And I'm certainly open to suggestions if you'd like me to write an accompaniment to your to an etude that you love. I'm hoping that this project can inspire horn players to stay with their etudes a little bit longer, stay with them long enough to explore the musicality of it, in addition to the technical side. I think that a lot of students think about etudes as a means to an end. Perfect the required technical elements and learn what has to be learned, and then play the etude off and move on to another etude. And on the teacher side of things, it's really easy to get distracted by the wrong notes and kind of go down that path and just talk about, oh, you should have breathed here and all that kind of stuff. And so students learn by doing that, and that when they go to the practice room, they have to get the technique right. They have to get the right notes in order to move on to a new etude. And the etude themselves becomes a means to an end. So the students achieve an etude technically and then move on. But And so what we do as teachers often is when we want to work on the musical part of things, we use solos and excerpt work, excerpts for orchestral if we're studying to be in an orchestra. And we teach students to hear the orchestra part in their head. If you're playing with an orchestra, you have a way better chance of playing in tune and in the correct rhythm because the music's happening around you. And we have students listen to recordings, hear the harmony, hear how people shape some of the solo lines differently, hear that not every soloist does the prescribed articulations that are in a piece in their recordings. Hear that there are variations to tempi. And then we ask our students to mimic what you like, take what you like from that, put it into your own performance and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But why limit that musical instruction to just solos? What if you're not working on a solo? What if you just enjoy etudes? What if you're not studying with anyone or not working on a particular solo or performance and you just like playing? Well, here come my accompaniments. Hopefully they'll help you out. Let's think about ways that we learn musicality. We tell students to imagine the harmony. We have them use baby theory kind of to outline what chords you're outlining, or discover where the cadences are or the harmonies, what the implied harmony is. We encourage students to make up a story. We encourage students to exaggerate the musical markings or take all the musical markings off and do that stuff. But we never do that with etudes, right? Which is just silly. Why not? Why not? And all of this can be done. All the things that we tell people, we tell them to do, the students to do that while looking at a single line on a page. And if you think about that, it's kind of interesting. We're asking them just to imagine stuff, which is great. But what better way to discover the music behind the etudes than to realize them with actual harmonies and rhythms and in a form of accompaniment? Using our ears, for many of us, transcends Roman numeral analysis and goes straight to the heart of musical understanding and meaning. We understand tension and release in Western harmony. We all get that because we listen to pop music. All that kind of stuff. We don't need theory behind it to understand that we've arrived home or something like that. That's using your ears and learning what it sounds like just by using your ears without words or without theory. And so I think that I want to provide possible accompaniments to etudes. I was a couple of years ago, I was on a doctoral committee for a trombone player here at UT, and he was talking about the student was talking about the Danish trombone tradition, and that he had all these interesting quotes about how the Danish trombone players are the most musical trombonists in the world. And that they that everywhere they go, oh, he's Danish, he plays like that. And one of the things that the student pointed to was the etude books that the Danish trombone teachers, composers, trombone players wrote, and many, if not all, Danish students played from them, and they're all accompanied. They all have piano accompaniments. There's 3 books in particular, one by Axel Hildingsen, one's by Axel Jorgensen, and one's by Gjord Wilkenschild. So this great names. And if you want to listen to them, there's a Danish trombone player, Niels Olibo Jon Hansen. He's recorded all of these, and so you can just listen. He has an album of all of these beautiful etudes. But students played these, and now they're saying that they're the most musical. So why not? Why don't we play with piano? Why limit our musical instruction to just solos and orchestral excerpts? Etudes are musical compositions. I will say that again. Etudes are musical compositions. They have phrasing, they have structure, they have themes, they have repetition, they have implied harmonies, they have tension and release. And I used to hate etudes as a student, but I love etudes now. And I mostly want etudes to be fun and and not to have people think of them as test pieces or something that they just have to plow through. I want students to stay longer with the etudes, so that first they learn the technical craft of it, and then explore the musicality that's inherent, to help them play with more intent, to imagine past just the technical. The goal is to teach the student to be more imaginative with everything they play. I challenge my students to imagine their own accompaniments or duet parts. I'm sure we all do that to everything they play. Even if they don't have the ability to write them down, they can hear the harmony, they can play with something inside of their head so that they're playing a duet, or that they hear the accompaniment underneath them. We always play better, we play with better rhythm. Think of all the things we're trying to fix technically. All of it's fixed if we have something going on along with us. Not all of it, but many of it. But of course, you want the students to be able to imagine that they can create their own, scenes. And my etude accompaniments are merely examples of what I recently imagined. I might imagine something completely different next week for a same etude, but I'm not going to write the etude. I'm just going to write, one for each. But it doesn't matter. And I think we can all do that. We just don't give ourselves freedom to do that, to imagine that. So my project, which by the way needs a name, so if you want to think of a name and send it to me, that would be great, includes me composing fun and interesting accompaniments to a variety of etudes already in the horn etude canon. And I know, Paul, you've already done this, right? You've created accompaniments to etudes before, right?
Yeah, the preparatory melodies for solo horn playing. So what I've done, I just improvise while they're playing, and they're kind of crazy improvisations, but they're based on the harmonies themselves. Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
fun.
Yeah, and Jeff Agrell, of course, has accompanied Copra. She has, I can't remember how many of them, which is a really fun book and great to hear the harmony. But I intend to cover the gamut. I want to do like everything. I want to show you that everything you can create something. I think when I think about myself as a musician, my favorite thing to do, I mean, I have a couple favorites, of course, playing horn and teaching and composing, but actually arranging is where I mostly love. I love to take something that already exists and change it a little bit. And so this is actual real arranging and composing at the same time. But so I'm going to compose these things, then I'm going to create, I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to create a website where horn players can play along with the accompaniments of the etudes, able to change tempos, all that kind of stuff, so you can play it at whatever tempo you are. I'm going to be continually updating the library, and my initial plan is to write 15, and I have 7 written already. But then what I'm going to do is look at all state etude requirements across the states, especially Texas. Those are big ones, and for sure keep on adding at least 3 or 5 or however many I feel like, because it's right now I'm just like, I gotta write another one. It's just so much fun. And so I'll be updating, and so that students who are learning the all-state etudes can actually learn the music of them by listening to the accompaniment rather than just working on the technique. And in the future, I imagine like a forum type of thing happening where budding or established composers can upload their accompaniments to the same etude, and people can hear that there are different variations and different feelings that you can create. And it's sort of like, I can't remember, Paul, you were talking about doing all these new things, and that would be like, I don't know, one of those wacky lens things on Snapchat, like I hear the etude this way, and you swipe, and I hear it this way, and I hear it this way, so you can hear different people's ideas. So here's an example. I'm going to share my page here and share Coprash 36, which it's one we all love. I know. Well, I don't know if we all love it. I think it's really fun, and I hope everyone can see this. Yes, and then I'm going to just play it from the beginning. I took the repeats out. Jesse said no one likes to play the repeats, so I took it. And this is Coprash number 36, inspired by Percy Granger. All right. I hope this works. Oh, wait. And there, isn't that fun? That's so much fun, I think. I don't know. That's way too much fun for me. So, let's see. Let me get back to my notes here real quickly. So, I'm hoping that my accompanied etudes will help students bring musicality to the forefront again or something, or return to it in etudes. I hope that they'll show students that sometimes by making a musical gesture or imagining or audiating the harmony under the line is an imaginative way to resolve technical issues. I honestly found my technique through playing more musically and listening for actually really good sound on every note. I hope that my etudes inspire students to write their own um, accompaniments and be imaginative. And I hope that also, this is just a little like, I don't know, soapbox thing, but I would like to inspire horn teachers to make a push to have pianists come to their studios more often. um, Singers always have piano players in their lessons. Why not the horns? Like, why schools provide that? So it'd be great. They're reading with piano playing, with piano underneath them more often. And I hope that this would just make things more fun to play. And it certainly is fun for me to just write these and explore what's going on and everything. So that is what the project that I'm working on these days. And I guess if you have questions, go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, this is so awesome, Pat. Thank you. Yeah, but before I say anything more, definitely, if you have questions, we'll try to get them in the last 5 minutes. Put them in the chat if you can. But it's so inspiring. All three of you, the projects that you're working on, this is so tremendously inspiring for me personally, and I know for all of our participants today for sure. This just goes to show you, first of all, that music is not rigid at all. There are endless possibilities if you apply yourself and you have an idea in a little bit of creativity and you just take it and see where it'll go. This is so cool, and it's also a great example of what you get at in-person camp, which we're looking forward to next month, featuring all three of these people as our faculty. You can see it's a very creative and thriving atmosphere. This is just really cool. Yeah, so that's the one thing I wanted to say. Let's see, we do have a couple questions. Okay. Do you know when they'll be available, Pat?
I'm still working on that. That's the technical part that I have to have someone else do for me. So it's right now I'm just composing, getting the material. Yeah.
Well, I love the idea that etudes are considered music. We often compartmentalize those two things. So
I have like a little follow-up to Lin's presentation. Lin, I just wanted to let you know that my studio has been using your website all this past year, and we have been, I make them give presentations on music that they find off of your list, and they have to talk about it, maybe find a recording of it and all that kind of stuff. And what our plan is, because I think it's great to have a list of that music, but my best way of knowing if I'm going to play a piece is if I hear it or I hear someone recommend it. And so next year we're creating Instagram commercials about pieces that we did, and we're going to put them up on Instagram so people can say, oh, Joe really liked this piece and all that kind of stuff. So because it's a way to get that out there a different way, right?
Yep, excellent. Thank you. I love
Everyone
that.
should do that.
Yep, I agree.
Well, so I have to tell a little story. When Lynn was getting her doctorate and working on this project, she came to the University of Florida to do a presentation. This is a while ago, and it was fantastic then.
Paul Basler, you are the first masterclass guest who has ever hosted me. That was the first masterclass I ever presented. Yes. Thank you so
Oh my
much.
God, I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love your project. I love the website.
Thank you.
Got to see Lynn's DMA recital where she presented the Vinata, and now I'm everything else on there, but I remember the Vigneri very well. So to watch you in action as a student and a leader,
Bernhard.
what I was doing in school. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I hear there's still spots available for Horn Camp.
Oh
Right.
yes. Thanks, Pat. We are doing great with enrollment this year, but we have a couple spots left. We're going to have some very full and thriving weeks at Horn Camp. So if you're still looking to attend, we might have a spot for you. So yeah, we were really excited to be in person again last year, getting started after a couple-year break because of the pandemic, and we will be. And it was amazing energy. It was really great to be in person, and we'll be building on that energy again this year. So we're excited about it.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle and Elizabeth, Jesse, and Bernhard, for letting us be with you all today. This is so much fun to see everybody and be part of this beautiful Kendall Betts Horn Camp family.
Well, you three truly are tremendously inspiring for all of us. So you are our honored guests. This is getting me excited about camp. That's only a month away, and all of the creativity and learning that I even get to experience when I'm there, and I know we all do. So thank you.
Yeah, and barring any last minute questions, I think we are pretty much just about out of time. So I'd just like to wrap things up with, again, a final thank you to all of our panelists today. It's really great to have you guys here sharing your expertise and your projects. I know it's always inspiring for me, and I hope that you guys in the audience are also inspired. And a final thank you again to our audience for attending Horn Camp Connect today. We're always so happy that you join us to play and connect with each other on these sessions. If you'd like to re-watch today's session or share it with others, you can find it on our YouTube page starting tomorrow. One last plug again for KBHC 2023. It's just around the corner on June 10th, and we have less than 5 spots left. So if you would like to attend in person, please register at horncamp.org as soon as possible, and we hope to see all of you there. Thanks again, and see you next time.